Working on the TAZR a little bit this evening, and just working on some seat brackets for the rear seat. Just kind of wanted to show you what I did. Google didn't have a whole lot for making seat mounts, at least nothing that was similar to what I had. Most of the stuff I saw online was really flat, made it look really easy. So these brackets here, they actually were bolted to the bottom of the seat base when I got the seat, and the way they mounted, it looked like these holes were used to mount to the RZR, and then these holes were used to mount to the seat. It was a little bit too long, so I trimmed the end so it would stop hitting the hump. Then basically all I did was set the bench on, let it kind of fall wherever it was going to fall at that point, and then I just used the piece of the brackets that I cut off to kind of make note of where it was, kind of how high it wanted to naturally float, because you can see how uneven and bumpy the floor is here where I'm trying to mount the seat base. So I just use these scraps to just kind of tack up and hold up this end. Made sure all the bolt holes lined up, bolted the seat down, and then drilled holes from the bottom so that I could actually get to the seat and unbolt it. So got the seat all bolted down in place, tacked up so that I felt like it was going to hold the bases in place. Undid the seat, added this angle iron. So now you can see in this side, we got the bracket holding the end, and then the angle iron is welded here in the middle, and that's fully supporting the bracket so that it will hold. So then the other side, kind of the next phase, come back, trim off the ugly bracket piece, add a piece of angle iron. This was just a piece of square tubing actually that was cut back into like an angle iron. But anyway, I just needed a piece that could kind of support the end so I could get rid of those floating pieces. So you can kind of see just the piece of angle that was there. The welds are pretty bad. A lot of the reason why I wanted to do this car was because I wanted to learn how to weld. So this is really my first time ever welding anything. So it's been an adventure. I don't know that I'm actually improving yet, but I figure, the more wire I run through inevitably I got to get at least a little bit better. So that's what we're doing here. Got this piece kind of closed off. Now the end is supported. The center supported. The end is, just tacked to the sheet metal. So it seems like it's going to be pretty sturdy. I'll get those all in place. Fix these holes from my previous prototype idea for how I was going to mount the seat. I'll just have to kind of seam that back up, weld it back up a little bit. But that should work. I'll get that all cleaned up, welded, lots of grinding, and then some spray paint, make it look decent. Once we've got that base all finished up, then we'll just take the seat here and get this cleaned up and then mounted back in. You could see, if I look at the bottom here, kind of how that works. It's just got the 4 little skis with the 4 holes in each side. So those skis each line up with these holes, these 2 and these 2. So should be decent. We'll get that done, and then after I get it all painted, I'll get a little bit more video of that. Got the seat mounts worked out here on the TAZR. Just gonna get a little video. So basically what I ended up doing was these pieces came with the seat, and so I just ended up trimming them down, took some off the end, got them welded in with some pieces of angle just to kind of hold the elevation where I wanted it. And then I've got those pieces of angle on the end as well. Welds, of course, are questionable, but I think it'll be all right. Seems to be holding in there fine. And just kind of put a couple pieces of scrap over the holes that I had cut earlier. So that's what we got for the seat mount. Next step, we're gonna grab this seat. I just finished kind of wiping it down. So we're gonna grab this seat and then bring it on over and bolt it in. And then we'll just have to see. I need to work out some seat belts, but I also have to work out the seat belt or the harness bar as well. So I'm gonna get the seat in there, just make sure that works out, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, we got it bolted in. Right now we're only using the 4 outside bolts because I know I'm gonna inevitably have to take that back out to do the seat belt mounts and also the harness bar. So I just wanted to kind of see how it was gonna be. Gives you kind of an idea. I'm still in the garage because it's super windy outside, so I didn't want the sound to just be overloaded with wind, but you can kind of get the idea. Should have plenty of room for the people in the back. They can kind of use this harness bar to hold on. I sat in it and there's plenty of room. You don't hit your knees, anything like that. Height wise, it's a little close on these bars. If you're an adult and you got a little crazy, I guess you could potentially, knock your head on there. But my kids, when they're riding in the back, they should be just fine. And that was the main goal, is just to get something that we could all ride around in. Got that in for now. Next step, we'll be working on the harness bar, and then we'll work on the seatbelt mounts, and then we'll get the harnesses in, and then we should be good with the back seat. Move on to something else. TAZR update. Got a little bit of an issue this morning. Went to the DMV to register the TAZR. Because the registration had expired from Idaho. Well, it's the first time I've ever been to the DMV with my body delete, so I had no idea how that was going to go. The issue that we ran into is that typically they, when they do your VIN inspection for out of state, they would come in, they would grab your VIN here off the dash, then they would come off the door panel or off the door jamb here, and they would make sure that it matches. Problem is, obviously, I've deleted the doors and the door jambs, and so we can't find a second place where there is a VIN listed. So they don't want to register the car until I do a VIN inspection, which apparently in New Mexico has to be done by a state policeman. So I can't even have a local person here do it. I have to wait. The next appointment was June 2nd, which is over 2 months away. I have to wait before they can do a VIN inspection for me. So today, what I'm working on is I Googled it already to see if I can find out where else the VIN would be listed. If I can just find one other place on the vehicle where the VIN is listed, then I'm golden. I can just go back tomorrow to the DMV and register it. If I can't, then I guess I don't have much other choice. I'll have to wait for June. So the goal today, I'm going to see if I can answer some of the questions I saw online, because I saw quite a few people that had questions, but no one with really firm answers, other than someone said it's everywhere, which was a little broad. A few people said you should be able to find it on the frame. Then there was the fenders, which are gone, inside the glove box, and steering column, which I thought was interesting, what that would mean as far as the steering column, where on the steering column. So get out the flashlights and see if I can find it. And if I can, then I'll post it on here so that everyone knows where they can find theirs. So we'll work on that here, and hopefully we'll be able to find that second VIN. Otherwise, it's going to be 2 months without registration on the car. So wish me luck. TAZR update. No luck finding the VIN number. I looked everywhere. I looked on the frame. I mean, I guess there's a chance there's a VIN number somewhere, like between the frame and the body, that I can't see. But with all the body panels off, you can see most of the frame, and I didn't see anything. Didn't find anything online that was helpful. So at this point, I'm not really sure what to do. Emailed some people, but for now, we're going to plan on just trying to get some progress done and then keep our appointment for June 2nd to do the VIN inspection. And then hopefully something happens between now and then so we can get it registered sooner. I'd like to be able to drive it on the road if possible. But for right now, we're just going to keep working on it and then see if we can get an earlier appointment or find another way to do it. Get the VIN inspection done. What we're working on, I got some mirrors installed. They just attach on to the 1 3/4 tubing. Not too bad. It's almost impossible when you sit in the driver's seat. It's almost impossible to get a mirror where you can actually see it, because the cage is on the outside of the body, so you can see from here. I mean, there's a huge distance between you know, where the body is and where the mirror would be and where it's at now. So on the driver's side, it's not terrible. On the passenger side, you got to kind of lean to be able to use it. Either way, it was mainly just to try to get it back to street legal. So not super concerned. Stuff that we're going to be working on today. I got my cousin Anthony coming over, and we're going to try to get us a harness bar going here. So the harness bar will go somewhere across, similar to what we do in the front, so we can just hook our harnesses onto it. So we'll run that bar across here, cut it, notch it, weld it in, and then we've got to come up with some tabs that connect to the body for the seat belts to hook to for the lap portion of the seat belts. So we're going to be working on that. One of the other things we got to figure out, I do want to get rid of this B-pillar garbage piece. It's super sharp, it looks bad, and I really want to make it look more like a 2-door instead of a 4-door. So you can see this piece looks pretty bad, and the B-pillar being cut off looks bad. So we want to put some type of a bar underneath there, like a slider, like a rock slider type setup. And then the thought is I'll take a piece of this scrap diamond plate that I have here. We'll take a piece of this, and then that will be used to maybe make like a new door sill, cover up these holes, cover up this B-pillar, and just make it look nicer, plus make it look like a step. I'm not sure if we'll try to attach it to those rocker panels. I guess if it makes sense, depending on how the elevation works out and how far those rockers stick out, then we could connect the diamond plate from here all the way out to the rocker. So we'll have to look at that today and see what makes sense, and then decide if we want to come with the slider, if we want to come off of this same 2-inch square which mounts to the frame, or if we want to have a separate 90 come out just out of the tubing and then go back into the frame. So we'll play with it and see what we think, and from there I think trailer hitch. Don't have a ton of frame to work with, but see if we can get some type of a trailer hitch there, and then in front of the trailer hitch, or behind the trailer hitch I guess it would be, there will be 2 bumper, new license plate mount. Hopefully have a license plate mount that we can flip up to get to that trailer hitch, because I'd like to be able to tow, or to put a little basket on the back for the kids' go-kart or some trail 90s. So it would be kind of cool to be able to just roll those up on like a motorcycle hauler type thing on the back. So we'll be working on that today, and hopefully get some video of the install of the harness bar and make a plan, hopefully. TAZR update. We got the harness bar. We set it so that it would come out about like the front, so that you get the opening just above where the harness bar sits. So we got it notched. It's not, I'm sure it's not professional, but it really wasn't too bad. We got it into place and it seems to fit okay. So we're gonna throw a few tacks on, make sure it still looks good, and then burn it into place. Harness bar installed. Let's just look at them from here. They look a little better at this distance. Not super great, but it's definitely in there. So it's not going anywhere. The welds could use some improvement, but that's just going to take time. For now, that's what we call gambler spec. It's good enough. I'm not going to worry about it any more than I have. So got that installed. You can see it seems like it's relatively parallel to the rest, just below the openings for the harnesses. So I think it came out pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Next thing we'll do is pull the seat out and work on the attachments or where the lap belts connect, and then we can get that spray painted, and then we're ready to actually have people ride in the back. So that's exciting. All right, we got the rear seat finished up, waiting on the center seat belt for the last couple weeks, but we got the seat finish installed now. It's got 8 bolts that hold it down, and then you can see the bolts that we used here for the seat belt mounts. 2 harnesses, 1 on either side. They connect to our harness bar, which we installed. Really happy with how that came out. And then this center seat belt, you can see I shopped around for a while to try to find one that matched close. It's not exactly the same as what the Aces Racing harnesses are, but it's close enough you don't really notice. You can see it's got a little bit of red on the side, and then the press is one direction on the center belt, and then press is written the other direction on the harnesses. But you know, from a distance, you really don't even notice any difference. Probably won't be riding with 5 people in here very often, but we do have, you know, some little ones that may want to go for a ride occasionally. So I wanted to just have that center seat belt. So that's what we were waiting on. So I didn't have to uninstall this thing once it was in. But really happy with how it came out overall. This was for like a Razor 1000, I think is what they said on Facebook. And it fits pretty well. I think it lines up pretty well. It matches with the front seats. And really happy with the size. And actually riding in it, it's more comfortable than these other junk ones that I have for sure. So happy with how the seat came out. That's all done. I needed to get that out of the way because we got other stuff going on. In the background, working on the rooftop tent, which will be another video that'll be coming out next. And then I got to get this Scout half cab out of here. I got tile saw for my home projects. I got to just get this place cleaned up a little bit to move on to bigger and better things. But super happy with how the rear seat came out. The Razor 1000 was a perfect size for the Crown Vic back seat. So really happy with that. And I'll go ahead and get this video uploaded and get to work on that rooftop tent. And we'll see you next time.